Hi guys, so these are all the speakers that I have here right now. I know there's a lot, but I'm not going to keep all these. I'm just planning to test them out a bit and then see which ones I like the best, and then just keep those ones. But they have different price levels to them. Some of these are speakers I already own, and I also want to do a comparison with those two. So let's start off with the MartinLogan 2Is. These are actually originally taken from my home theater system. I actually did a video on this last year with my Marantz and our 1510 receiver. I bought these in a package, the MartinLogan 5.1 package together. So these are probably the cheapest passive speakers that I own. And yeah, I wanted to test them out. They're very small. They're also the smallest speakers. But yeah, these are about $300 US for both of these two, for the pair. And then moving on to the Klipsch R-41PMs. These are powered speakers, so they have a built-in amp. And yeah, so I won't be driving these with the Rotels. So I'll be driving the rest of these with the Rotels, except for this one because it's powered. So it already has a built-in amp. Instead, I'll be using the Creative X3 USB DAC. So this is the Creative Sound Blaster X3. I think it already appeared in my video last year when I was like doing a whole video on my living room setup. But just to go over it again, I think I didn't really talk about this in detail, but this is about $100. It's an amp and a DAC, so it's can connect to your computer, and actually can connect to your consoles too, I believe. It's actually very versatile, just like a lot of creative products. So this is the volume knob right here, obviously, but you have the this is audio balancing. You press this to balance the audio, I guess, and so it's got some DSP, I guess, some algorithm there, and you got some mode. They have some gaming modes and stuff like that. I guess that are better for gaming. Then you got the Super X5. So this is important because this one comes with the Super X5 feature. Now this really only works with headphones, right? So if you want to connect this to your headphones, and this does have a headphone amp inside, you can drive like 600 ohm headphones, you'll be able to hear the Super X5 effect, which is kind of like a spatial sound effect, very similar to like THX spatial audio, Waves NX, Dolby Atmos, DTS Sound Unbound, all these spatial audio codecs that's going on. It'll be kind of like that. It's like a 3D type of effect, and you'll have to use an app to like map your ear and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that this comes with that built-in, considering that the Super X5 amp that Creative sells by itself is $150, and then this is $100. It includes Super X5, but also is a USB DAC and an amp, right? Which is really cool. So yeah, then you have the headphone out right here, and then you have the microphone out. And then over here, you have a lot of different inputs and outputs here, which is one of, I think, one of Creative's value adds here. I do think Creative makes some pretty nice value stuff. So they've got the different outputs for if you have separates, right? You have separate speakers. You got front, side, rear, and C-sub, which is a subwoofer. So they have separate outs for your different speakers here. So you can actually use this with your home theater system, should you choose to. Then you have a line input right there, and then you have an optical output right here. So this optical output is actually what I used before when I had my living room set up, because when you use the optical output for this and connect it to your computer with the USB, so this is a USB-C connector right here. If you use the USB-C connector, connect it to your computer, and then use the optical out with a SPDIF out, it's actually going to decode Dolby Digital signals live. So it's got Dolby Digital live. So if your computer outputs like stereo sound, right, when you're playing games and they don't have, say, Dolby Digital support, they only output like, yeah, 2 channels, right? Dolby Digital Live will actually actively encode that into a full 5.1 bit stream. So that's what I used when I was, I had my whole living room set up. My PC connected to my TV. I used the SPDIF out, and yeah, so I was able to get surround sound just from anything on my computer, like whether I was playing YouTube videos or games, basically any sound output from my computer, I was able to split up into the 5.1 channel setup, which is really cool. So this is very, very useful USB-C DAC. You can connect to your computer, and yeah, you can do lots of cool stuff with that. You can connect it to your consoles too. I think you can connect to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, so it's very, very versatile USB DAC. Anyways, I'm going to use that with the Klipsch, right? So the Klipsch are powered, so it has an amp built in. I will show you the controls on the Klipsch. I don't think I've shown you guys the speaker before. I've had it for, I've had this speaker for maybe like a year now. So yeah, you can see on the back, this is the output of the speaker right here, and it actually has phono inputs, so you can actually connect your turntables to the speaker, which is pretty cool as a built-in phono stage. This is the ground for the turntable. So this switch right here is to switch from line input to phono input. So line level input, you're just connecting anything line level here, you know, not a turntable, but if you're connecting a turntable, then you can switch to phono, and then you'll utilize the phono stage there. And then it has a subwoofer out. It's not that common to find a powered speaker actually with subwoofer out, but it has a separate subwoofer out, so you can connect a subwoofer to it. So this is actually a pretty good value add for those of you who want like a cheap powered set of bookshelf speakers and just want like some nice bass. You can add some nice bass with the subwoofer right there. And then you have optical input right here, which is how I'm going to use it, because I'm using the optical output on my Sound Blaster X3. I'm going to connect it to optical in here. You can also connect it to your TV, anything with an optical out. Connect it to your computer directly actually with USB. So I guess I could do that as well. I'm not sure how good the DAC on this though. So I'm using this like because as a DAC, a nice DAC as well. I'm not sure what the DAC built into this one is, but it probably isn't as good as the one in my X3. And then you have a service USB right there, which is not used to connect to the computer. That's this one. And then of course you have the speaker terminals to connect to the other speaker and the power AC. Okay, so that's the Klipsch R-41PM. This one is also a pretty good deal. It's $300, and $300 considering the fact that you don't need to buy a separate amplifier. It's powered, so the amp is all nice and built in. This could be a nice value for people who just like want to have a nice set of bookshelf speakers for their desktop or their home stereo, right? That you don't need to spend that much money because these are already powered. You don't need to buy a separate preamp, power amp, or integrated amp, and even has a subwoofer out, so you can connect a subwoofer if you want to add some bass later on, which is pretty cool. So the Motion 2Is use a folded motion tweeter. That's kind of MartinLogan's signature technology for their tweeters. Their folded motion is kind of like a ribbon tweeter. This has a pretty small driver right here, which is expected given the size and the cost, and guess what it's meant to be as well. It's more like a surround speaker, but I'm using it mostly as a front speaker now. And then the Klipsch, these ones have a horn-loaded tweeter, which is what Klipsch is known for. They're known for their horn sound, right? These ones are no different. It's got a, I think this is a 0.75-inch track 6 horn, so it's got a horn-loaded tweeter right here, and then they've got the copper woofer down there, IMG woofer. So these are, I think the Klipsch look pretty nice for what they are, but they have a signature sound to them, which is very polarizing, I find. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, so I'll leave that up to you guys to find out how they sound. So yeah, these speakers here are pretty nice. They're pretty good value because they sound pretty nice for the price. They're $300 each. I'm talking about for the whole set, right? The pair. So $300 US. So for people who want like a beginning type of bookshelf stereo system, then I think these two are sound pretty good for the price. And a few other speakers around that price I think are pretty good. The Wharfedale Diamond 210s and the Audio Engine A2 Pluses. Yeah, I think those are also pretty nice for the price. And the Fluence speakers as well. Can't forget about Fluence. They make some pretty nice value speakers too. I also think that the Emotiva Airmotive B1 Plus bookshelf speakers are pretty good around this price too. I think they're around $250 or $300. Anyways, Emotiva always makes some pretty nice value stuff as well. So those would be some other speakers I recommend around this price range. Alright, so then we move on. This is like $300. We're going to move on a little bit higher. We're going to go up in price as we go to the right here. So these ones are the MartinLogan 15Is, and I bought them as kind of an upgrade for the MartinLogan 2Is. This is going to be for my home cinema system, or my living room setup rather. So these ones, this pair is $850 US. So we're moving up in price now, and yep, I'm going to test these out as well. A few other speakers I looked around this range are like the Dali Oberon 3s and the Triangle Bro 3s. I think those are two other nice speaker sets that I looked around this price range. But we're going to test these out too. The MartinLogan 15Is should be a nice upgrade over the 2Is, and you know, much more expensive. So MartinLogan 2Is, you know, pretty simple, right? Just 2 input posts you can use. I use banana plugs for everything because they're so simple, so easy. And then the MartinLogan 15Is, 2 banana posts right here, or you can use spades actually. what the MartinLogan 15Is have is this fold-in motion tweeter, which is what MartinLogan is known for in the motion range, and this woofer is a lot bigger than the one on the 2i, so this should be able to produce much better mid-range and bass from there. But we'll find out and test these. Alright, so now moving on to these. These are really interesting pairs of speakers. So these are the PMC DB1 Golds, and they're really interesting speakers because I originally didn't think about PMC. So PMC is a British audio company. They hand make all their speakers, and it's based off of the old BBC speaker designs. So a lot of, actually some British companies, they make these near field monitors that are meant to be kind of replicas or improvements upon the old BBC monitors. So PMC is one of those companies, and you also have others like Spendor and Harvith and ATC, Graham Audio. Like, they make all these nice reproductions of the BBC loudspeaker design improvements upon them. But yeah, these are pretty nice. They're handmade in the UK. So these ones are not made in China. It's the only one out of these are not made in China. It's actually made in the UK, and they're limited edition. So I'll show you guys the back, so you guys can see limited edition, right? It's numbered, and they've got 2 sets of binding posts here, so you can actually buy amp or buy wire them. And since I only have 1 amp, I'm gonna buy wire these. So these ones and these ones both have 2 sets of binding posts. So I'm gonna buy wire these. Shouldn't make too much of a difference, but should be like a very subtle improvement. But yeah, I think these are really interesting. They're not that heavy, and I mean, they're very, very simple looking, right? Very kind of bland looking compared to like the MartinLogans or the Klipsch, but they sound pretty good, I think. And so these speakers are mostly meant to be near field monitors. So you have them like on a desktop setup, which is basically how I use them. So when you look at reviews online of the PMC DB Golds or the Harviths or any similar BBC loudspeaker design, most of them suggest just use them in a desktop type of setup where you'll be kind of in a near field sense, right? You're very close to the speakers because they're not really meant for home cinema. They don't project very far because of the size of the speakers. They don't project that far, but when you're near field, it sounds like a much bigger speaker. So that's why I was interested in this. It was on sale. Normally it MSRPs for $1,500 US. Yes, these ones are $1,500 US MSRP. But what you get for that, I know it's a small speaker, and the power is definitely not as much as these guys, or I think maybe not even as much as the MartinLogan 15Is, but you do get a lot more sound out of the size because it's based on this near field monitor design, which is pretty interesting. It has a transmission line design, which gives it a lot more bass extension, and yeah, I think just the way they designed it, they make a lot of power, and maybe the sound stage is not as wide as a bigger speaker, of course, because of the physical limitations, but I think it's very impressive for the amount of clarity and detail, and the bass for the size is actually very impressive as well. So yeah, I think the PMC DB1 Golds we'll be testing. I think it's pretty impressive. So these ones are $1,500. I also really wanted the Harvith P3 ESRs, but they're like double the price. And maybe they have much, like, mid-range, I would say, is the main difference between the Harviths. So these ones have pretty good treble and the clarity already. And the bass is already pretty nice already out of the size. The Harviths add a little bit more mid-range. I think the mid-range is a little bit lacking on these, but it's still really good for for the size. So yeah, these are $1,500. Alright, moving up. These ones are, I mean, look at these ones, they're huge. Well, relatively speaking, right? Obviously there's bigger bookshelf speakers than even these guys, but these are the Monitor Audio Gold 100s. These are the most expensive out of these. They're $2,300 US for this pair. And what you get from that is you get, like this, they use a ribbon tweeter here, or a folded diaphragm tweeter right here. It's a little bit different than other Monitor Audio speaker systems. They usually use metal dome tweeters. This one does not use a metal dome tweeter, uses the folded diaphragm. And then they use their CCAM kind of mid-range bass driver right here, woofer. So yeah, and this is a 6-inch woofer, so it's obviously the biggest out of all of these. And physically the biggest and heaviest as well. These ones are like 20 pounds. So these ones are 10 pounds each, right? So it's literally double the weight. But still, it's relatively a good size enough for desktops, because if you go for something even bigger, believe it or not, the Monitor Audio Silver 100s, which are actually the tier below this one, is actually bigger than these. So they have like an 8-inch, I believe an 8-inch driver and 8-inch woofer on those. Yeah, those are actually bigger. This is the step up. So this is the next model in the lineup. Once you go up from there, it's actually smaller physically, but the sound is a little bit more refined, right? I've listened to the Silver 100s before too, and they sound pretty nice. Of course, they're pretty big speakers, and they do have a lot of bass extension. These ones, the driver is actually smaller, but I feel like you get more mid-range and clarity out of it. It just sounds, everything sounds more cohesive to me. And the sound stage is going to be a lot better than these guys, right? This is meant for near field only. The PMCs are meant for near field only. The MartinLogan 1590s are actually pretty impressive to my ears, but these ones are on another level. And that's talking about the price. The price is on another level, but also just, you can tell, right, how big it is and the technologies that they're using. These ones are definitely the top of the line speakers that I've listened to so far. And if you look at the back too, these are really heavy, 20 pounds each. So if you look at the back, by the way guys, these have some pretty nice vinyl, leatherette type tops. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's real leather or not, but anyways, it's a pretty nice touch that they put this leather trim on here. Or yeah, some kind of leather-like trim. So it's pretty nice. Alright, so on the back, you have 2 sets of binding posts just like with the PMCs. So I'm going to buy wire these as well. I don't have another amp, so I can't buy amp them. But I will buy wire these. So yeah, these are 4 ohm, 120 watts, so you need a pretty decent amplifier to drive these. Like my Marantz probably won't be able to drive these well, but my Rotels definitely will. My Rotel RA1572s, they're 120 watts continuous into 8 ohms, I believe. They can even get more, like 200 watts into 4 ohms, I believe. So they can actually drive these pretty well. And then they have the Hive port 2 at the back. So this is for, you can actually plug these. I think they add, when I bought these, they gave me these plugs as well. So you can plug these in if you feel like the bass is too boomy, then they give you an option to plug these in. But if you want more bass, then yeah, just leave these open. So yeah, these are the Monitor Audio Gold 100s. Pretty nice speakers, and they're really nicely finished too. I mean, look at this nice walnut finish, right? It's definitely the best finished out of all these speakers, and they really should be for the price, but still, like, wow, they look amazing. The other speakers I compared to in this price range, I was looking at the Fulco Aria 906s. The KEF R3s are really interesting because they're 3-way. It's a 3-way speaker design. These are all 2-way speaker designs. It's kind of rare to find a bookshelf speaker that's a 3-way, but the KEF R3s are pretty nice as well. And the Dynaudio Evoke 20s and the Bowery and Wilkins 706 S2s. Those are the other speakers I looked at in this price range, around 2,000 bucks. And I decided to go with the Monitor Audio Gold 100s because I already listened to the Silver 100s, which I found was pretty good. And I was originally going to get the Silver 100s, but then I looked at the Gold 100s and I was like, okay, I see like a deal on these, and maybe I'll upgrade to these and see how it is. And it's actually smaller, physically smaller than the Silver 100s, so maybe they'll fit on my desktop a little bit better. So that's why I went for these, and these are just kind of an experiment. If I like them, then I mean, if I think they're worth the price, I mean, obviously I think these should sound the best for the price, but are they worth the price is what I'm thinking, right? Because these are like $1,000 more than these ones, almost $1,000 more. So this is $2,300 US, $1,500 US, $850 US. These guys are $300 US each. So, I mean, obviously you get diminishing returns with speakers as you go up, but I want to get to the top. I want to get to the point where I can, listen to a really beneficial improvement in the sound quality as I move up, without having to spend too much extra money, right? So that's what I'm looking for and listening for. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna demo all these different speakers to you guys using 2 tracks, and both of these tracks are not going to be. I can't use any of my FLAC high-res audio files or anything, unfortunately, because they're copyrighted. So I'm just going to have to go by some YouTube tracks that I found, unfortunately, but that's the YouTube copyright thing. But still, you guys should be able to tell, at least maybe, hopefully be able to tell something from those 2 tracks, how good these different speakers are at different levels. And I'll be using my REL T0 Mark III subwoofer for these three. This one, actually I'm going to use my Rail T0 for all of them. Yeah, because all of them are going to benefit from the subwoofer. So yeah, I'm going to use my Rail T0 Mark III subwoofer for all these. So you'll be hearing that subwoofer combined with the natural bass output of these. And then I'll be powering all of them except for this one using the Rotel RA1572 integrated amp. So yeah, this one, because it's already powered, right? So I can't drive these using the Rotel. They're already powered. I'll be using the Sound Blaster X3 with this instead. But with these guys, I'll be using the Rotels to drive them. And also I'll be throwing in my Sound Blaster X Katana into the mix as well. That's actually my previous soundbar that I used for my computer, and I used it for a very long time, like 3 years. No, 4 years actually. I used it for 4 years. So just to give you an idea of what I'm upgrading from, right? So yeah, the Creative Sound Blaster X Katana, that was my main computer audio device for 4 years, right? So I used it for 4 years, and then you can see the difference when I'm upgrading to these guys. Not to say that that was a bad soundbar, it wasn't. It was actually a really good soundbar for the price, $300. I mean, you get pretty good quality sound. You can go really loud, and it comes with a subwoofer, and you don't need a DAC or an amp because it comes with it built in. So you don't even need a DAC or anything. Just connect it to your computer as a built-in DAC, built-in amp. Comes with a subwoofer, all for $300. So pretty good value. And yeah, I lived with that for 4 years, and I was satisfied with that, honestly, for 4 years until I upgraded my living room setup with the MartinLogan 2 Eyes, and then I was upgrading from my LG soundbar. And once I upgraded from my LG soundbar into the Marantz NR1510 plus the Motion 5.1 setup, I was like, okay, this is what I've been missing, right? And it's not even separates. I didn't even go with separates. I was just using a receiver. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll upgrade my desktop stereo system, since I actually use that more for music, right? And music is really important to get a good hi-fi setup, and it really matters what your speakers are and your amp. So that's why I got the Rotel, and then I got the Rail subwoofer, and then now we're looking at the speakers for the most important part of the desktop audio setup, obviously the speakers, right? I'm going to test out all these different speakers. I've actually had the Klipsch for a while, mostly using with my vinyl, my record players. But we're going to use these with my desktop audio system, and I'll also be using these with my record player as well, because my Rotel can take in, phono. So that would be good as well. So I'm looking for something that's not too warm, because the record player and vinyl is already pretty warm to begin with. That's why I chose the Rotel, actually, because the Rotel is known for being fairly neutral, having like a neutral sound signature compared to like a NAD amp, which is slightly warm. And then the Cambridge Audio amps I heard as well were maybe also slightly warm, on the warm side. And then the Marantz are really warm, like the Marantz amps. So that's why I went with the Rotels, and now I'm looking at these speakers and seeing which ones are the best for me. So I'm looking for something that's really good performance for the cost, right? What's the best performance for the cost, the best value? That's what I'm looking at. Like, these guys are already pretty budget, but I want to upgrade to something a little bit more. So I already had these before. I'm looking out of these three speakers, right? Because these are the ones I might be looking to upgrade to. Which ones do I get the most bang for the buck? And guess we'll find out, okay? So, yep, these are the $850 for the pair, MartinLogan 15 Eyes, and then the $1,500, but I got this at a discount, so not too bad. PMC DB1 Golds, and I got these kind of at a discount too, but they retailed MSRP for $2,300 US, the Monitor Audio Gold 100s. So guys, let's do this comparison. Okay, so you guys can see what all these speakers sound like in my desktop system. Okay, so the MartinLogan Motion 2 Eyes, the Klipsch R-41PMs, the MartinLogan Motion 15 Eyes, the PMC DB1 Golds, and the Monitor Audio Gold 100s. Let's see how they all perform, which one performs the best for the cost, and which one is worth it the most for me. Yeah, let's find out. So I'll be testing all the speakers in my normal listening position, just on my chair, sitting a few feet away from my desk. And this kind of duplicates the normal everyday listening environment that I will be using these in. So I'll be using the Kanto speaker desktop speaker stands to raise the speakers a few angles so that this sounds a little bit more natural. And I'll be using the 2 tracks, like I mentioned, from YouTube to avoid any copyright infringement issues. So yeah, I hope you guys can hear a difference between these. guys, so that was the speaker comparison using that one track. I know before the comparison started I told you guys I had 2 tracks for you guys to hear, but unfortunately what happened is iMovie, that's the video editor I use for my YouTube videos, when I attempted to render these files, iMovie got one of them corrupted. I was unable to output it, and I didn't save a backup. So unfortunately the video files or the audio files of the other tracks that I wanted to show you guys are lost. So I only have that one track to show you guys, unfortunately. But hopefully just from that one track, maybe you guys are able to hear a difference. Hopefully you guys can hear a difference, especially if you're using headphones. You might be able to tell the difference a little bit easier. Also, yeah, part of the reason why I can't re-record those things again is because, so I have my MartinLogan Motion 15 eyes right now. It's on speaker stands. But they're done in a way that is very difficult for me to take them off, right? So it took me a lot of time to position them exactly correct. So that's why I'm very hesitant about taking these off the speaker stands again, just for that, just to record another track. So that's another reason why I only have that one track re-recorded for you guys. But hopefully that would be enough to hear some difference between all the different speakers. I tried to keep the volume level a little bit constant between all the different ones, because like the Creative Sound Blaster X Katana and the Klipsch R-41PMs both have their own volume control. They're not going through the Rotels. The Rotels, I tried to keep the volume constant, but all the speakers have different impedances, right? So the MartinLogan 2 eyes and the 15 eyes, these ones are easier to drive. Whereas the PMC DB1 Gold's a little bit harder to drive, but still, like, I think it's still reasonably okay for most amps. Now the Monitor Audio Gold 100s, the big ones, those ones were harder to drive. They're 4-ohm speakers, so I had to push the power a little bit more on my Rotel for those, just to keep the volume constant. So there was a little bit of tweaking, trying to figure out what was the level I can set it at so that the volume level is constant for you guys. But still, I mean, hopefully you guys are able to hear a difference just from that one track. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Which speaker do you think gives me the best value, best bang for the buck, for the amount of sound quality that you get compared to the price? That's what I really want to know. And also, by the way, if any of you are looking for a desktop audio system, looking to upgrade it, look for some new bookshelf speakers for your desktop, then maybe I can give you guys a recommendation, because I did so much research before buying all these speakers. Just tell me your budget, what kind of sound you're looking for, how much space you have on your desk, those kind of things. I think because I did so much research when I'm looking for, when I was upgrading, right, my desktop audio system, and I did a lot of research before I bought these speakers. So yeah, maybe I can give some recommendations, I don't know. But for this video, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the different speakers that I bought so far, and which one sounds the best to your ears, given the amount of money that you pay for them, right? The value. That's what I really want to know. Obviously, the Monitor Audio Gold 100s should sound the best. They're the most expensive and also the largest and heaviest. But I also want to know, like, which speaker gives me the best quality sound given the price, right? The price-performance ratio is what I'm looking for here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.